I was given one rule for my isolated mountain job. I broke it when I heard my partner screaming. I applied for this maintenance position online a little over a month ago. The job listing was incredibly vague. It asked for basic electrical knowledge, comfort with extreme heights, a willingness to work in isolation, and the ability to follow strict operational protocols. The pay offered was staggeringly high. It was the kind of money that clears all your debts in a single year. I was desperate, broke, and entirely out of options, so I ignored the glaring red flags and accepted the position. The employer did not give me an office address for an interview. They just sent an automated email confirming my start date and told me a hired driver would pick me up from my apartment. The driver arrived in a dark SUV with tinted windows. He did not speak to me. He just opened the back door, waited for me to throw my duffel bag inside, and started driving. We drove for 8 hours into a remote, high-altitude mountain range. I do not even know what state we ended up in. We crossed state lines at least twice, but the roads eventually turned from asphalt to gravel, and then to dirt. We wound endlessly upward through incredibly dense pine forests until we reached a massive, flat clearing cut directly out of the trees. In the center of the clearing stood a communications tower. It was a massive steel structure, stretching hundreds of feet into the sky, covered in satellite dishes and blinking aviation lights. At the base of the tower was a tall chain-link perimeter fence topped with razor wire. Inside the fence was a square, windowless concrete building. That was the ground-level maintenance bunker. And that is where I met my trainer. The driver parked outside the gate, unlocked the doors, and drove away the second my boots hit the dirt. My trainer was standing on the other side of the chain-link fence. He looked like a man who had not slept a full night in a decade. His skin was leathery and pale, his eyes were completely bloodshot, and he flinched at the sound of the SUV driving away. He did not introduce himself, or even offer his name, and he did not ask for mine. He just unlocked the gate, ushered me inside, locked it behind me, and handed me a clipboard with a laminated checklist. You check the fuel levels in the back generator every morning, he said, his voice raspy and exhausted. You climb the tower and calibrate the uplink dishes at noon. You walk the perimeter fence and check for breaches before the sun goes down. That is the routine. You do not deviate from it. I nodded, looking around the desolate, silent clearing. The wind whistling through the tower struts was the only sound. Are we the only ones up here? Yes, he replied, his eyes constantly darting toward the dense tree line surrounding the fence. We are the only humans within 50 miles. No one is coming up here to check on us. It is just you and me. He took me inside the bunker to show me the layout. The bunker was strictly utilitarian and built to withstand a bomb blast. There were no windows. The walls were thick, poured concrete. The interior was divided into two main sections. The front section was the living quarters. It had harsh fluorescent lights, two metal cots, a small kitchenette with canned food, a bathroom stall, and a large desk holding a two-way radio console. The main entrance to the living quarters was a massive steel access door that led outside to the clearing. It had 3 sliding deadbolts on the inside. The back section of the bunker was the generator room. It was separated from the living quarters by a secondary reinforced metal door. Inside the back room sat a massive, deafeningly loud industrial diesel generator that provided power to the entire facility and the tower outside. There was also a secondary way in and out of the bunker. In the ceiling of the living quarters, right above the desk, was a metal roof hatch. A steel ladder went from the floor, straight up the wall, and opened onto the flat roof of the bunker. From the roof, you could directly access the metal stairs leading up the exterior of the radio tower. Before we went to sleep on that first night, my trainer sat me down at the small metal table in the kitchenette. He looked entirely serious. His hands were shaking slightly. There is one rule you never break while you are stationed here, he said, leaning forward. Sometimes, a thick fog rolls over this mountain. It does not happen like normal weather. It happens instantly. When you see the fog drop, you get inside this bunker, and you lock the main steel access door. Okay, I said, thinking it was some kind of severe high-altitude weather hazard. Is it a temperature drop thing? Does the air get too thin? No, he said flatly, his bloodshot eyes staring right through me. Just listen to me. You lock the door. And no matter what you hear outside, you do not open it. I frowned, confused by his phrasing. What do you mean, no matter what I hear? You will hear things in the fog, he said. Voices. People asking for help. People screaming. You ignore them. You stay inside, you keep the deadbolts thrown, and you wait until the fog lifts. I thought he was trying to haze the new guy. I thought it was a joke to scare me on my first night in the middle of nowhere.